Hello, YouTube. It has been a good hot minute. I apologize for that. You guys, since I graduated, literally my life has been a tornado. And yes, my dogs are in here. What's new? Stop that, I'm recording. So, but here I am, back. I'm alive, thankfully, barely hanging on. And we're here today to talk about macros. A lot of you have been asking me questions about macros. So I'm gonna start with this disclaimer. I am in no way an expert over macros. I actually had to consult a friend who has been doing macros and knows so much more than I do. And I picked her brain because I was like, I don't know what to tell them. I did macros for a good 3 months and it was pretty tough for me. When I first lost weight, I didn't do macros. I just did weight loss, which I'll talk about. Sorry, I did counting calories, which I'll talk about here in a second about that. So I'm just here to compare whether macros are right for you, whether they're not, and kind of give you guys the knowledge that I have received and maybe help you understand in a better format what macros are, what the counting is, and all that jazz. I'm hoping that next time I talk about macros, because I'm sure I'll talk about it again, I can have like a nutritionist or someone. A lot of my friends are like getting their degrees in nutrition and dietetics. Is that how you say that? Dietitians? Dietetics, I don't know. And I'm sure they'll know more than I do. But, you know, your fitness girl, Get Fit with Melissa's here to try and help some questions. Okay, macros, what are they? They are three things. Your proteins, your carbohydrates, and your fats. Super easy to know, and yet for some reason, a lot of people don't understand that like sugars and like all the other things are not your macros. Macros are the macronutrient, the big fellas of the calories of the food we ingest. So some things we talked about and that I researched about was that if you're trying to just lose weight, so you don't have like a specific goal besides losing weight, and by that you mean like the scale going down, it might be easier just to count calories versus counting macros, because with counting macros, you have to be very specific on eating those macros. So for example, let's say I hop on a calculator online, which I will share in my description box below, and it's like IFFYM says my macros should be 220 grams of protein, let's see, 112 grams of carbs, and 60 grams of fats. Let's say those are my macros. Every person's macros are specific to them. So when you look up a calculator or when you figure them out by paper, which I've never done, and I won't give you guys advice on how to do it because I have no idea. I've always just used calculators. But when you're doing that, you need to make sure you're very honest and specific. A lot of those calculators will ask you how active you are, your current weight, and what you want to do. If you're not honest with them, so like, let's say you go to the gym 5 times a week, but you only stay there for about 30 minutes walking on the treadmill. I mean, you're going 5 times a week, but your activity level is still at like someone who's like a beginner moderate versus someone who's an advanced. So you want to make sure you're typing in that right to get the most accurate macros, as well as you can go back and forth. There are so many calculators out there that you can just sit and compare and then finally see kind of where your mean is and go from there. So what's the difference between counting calories and counting macros? So when you're counting calories, calorie counting is really just the overall amount of food you're eating. So proteins, carbs, fats, sugars, they all have calories in them. But like a protein molecule is like worth 4 grams, I believe, of a calorie. Same with like carbohydrates, fats are less. So when you're doing macros is very specific to counting those instead of actually looking at your calories. So when you're doing macros, let's say your protein is, 160 grams, but your calories on myfitnesspal are set to 1600. So you get to your protein and you're maybe at like 1700. Well, you hit your macros, but your calories are over. But that doesn't matter because you're not looking at calories, you're just looking at those macronutrients. Versus calories is more, did you hit under or below that calorie count, and you're not caring about your macros, you're just looking at the calories. So if you're trying to lose weight, you need to be in a caloric deficit. Sorry, it takes me a good second to say all my words, it's been a minute. You want to make sure you're eating less and burning more. That doesn't mean eat 1,000 calories. I will kill the next person that tells me they've only eaten 800 calories. You guys, if you do that, your body goes into what I like to call energy savings mode, and it will not let you burn anything because it thinks you're trying to kill it. So please don't do that. Calorie deficit is basically someone, okay, like let's say you've never tracked before, and you start tracking for 2 weeks and you see that you're eating about, I don't know, 2,000 calories, 2,100 calories. Not to be specific, but I would still get on a calculator and figure out like what your target goal is, but you're probably subtracting about 400, 500 off of what you normally eat to be in a deficit, because you want to eat less and burn more. Another thing I want to touch base on really quick on here is if you're in a deficit and let's say you've lost your weight and maybe you stop losing weight, well, it's because your body has accustomed and plateaued at the amount that you've been giving it. So for me, for example, when I was in my deficit, I had to actually increase my calories to see a difference because my body wasn't changing. I wasn't giving it more or less. I was just doing the same routine. So you have to change things up for your body to change. So with that all in mind, if you want to macro count, macro counting is more about being in a specific about your body fat percentage. So for example, someone who's a bodybuilder, someone who's like going on stage to do bikini competitions, they usually want pretty accurate like body fat percentages. So you are gonna want higher amounts of protein, decreased amounts of carbohydrates, and higher amounts of fats to help you have that lean body mass, which in return, you have like a body percentage of like, I don't even know what people compete at, like 8%. Like I have abs sometimes, but I could never do that. I'm like, too deficit. But they're only dieting for a short amount of period. They don't stay that way forever. They just compete and then they slowly move back up. It's called reverse dieting. We can talk about that in another video. So I was reading an article though based off of Stanford. Someone had done like a nice little article to help explain macros and calories. And they said, you know, you can macro count and do calories, or you can macro count and wait for weight loss. But at the same time, you need to make sure your calories are still in that deficit. So let's say, for example, your calories are sitting at 1,600 that's your deficit because of whatever, the calculator just told you that. And you want to do macros too, well, you just want to make sure that you're not going over those 1,600 calories and that you're still trying to target those macros from what I was understanding. That seems really difficult, it seems really complicated. But it's not impossible from what I was reading. You just have to be in that deficit. So maybe be really smart about where you're getting your proteins from. Maybe eat less of those carbohydrates, and then you'll feel filled and you won't be going over your calories as well as hitting those macros. Because usually what happens is when you're macro counting, when you're trying to lose weight or cut your body fat, you're just in a type of deficit. And so you want to make sure that, you know, you aren't going into a surplus. You aren't eating a lot. Just stay in the low areas. But like I think as I talk about it, that seems so complicated. So I really think that if you're trying to lose weight, you know, just go for counting calories. It's super easy. You can scan things in. I'll even show you guys here in a second how to like input things, how to change your macros on myfitnesspal if that's the app you use. That's what I use personally. And on myfitnesspal, you can't ever get it exact. I think if you upgrade the version, you can switch to grams instead of percentages, which is what you want to be doing. But even if you don't have the upgraded version, what you can do is you can set the percentages as close as you can to the macros that a calculator did for you. So yes, some positive things really quick to light on is when you're macro counting, you kind of got to see where your calories are coming from, because like I said, your proteins, your carbs, your fats, all those are calories. So you can kind of see like a majority of your calories are coming from protein, which is good if you're trying to lean out your body or hit a certain body percentage. Another thing is it's very flexible. So when people say if it fits in my macros, so like let's say your carbohydrates are sitting at 120 grams. I keep switching it up, sorry guys. But a donut is only 32 grams. Well, it fits. Like if you can make it work with all the rest of your food, that's what people say about fitting into their macros. It fits, it's there. So something like, let's say my like indulgence is lately has been cereal. So the cereal I've been eating has 16 grams of carbs. So if I'm at 120, I can spare 16 grams of carbs. It can fit, but that's part of the source I'm using. From what I read though, you really want to focus on those wholesome foods to put into your diet. Not that your body really can register whether something is a white bread or a grain. It can in the sense that you'll feel groggy and not feel as energized and probably have what I call like carbohydrate coma, but you know your body feels different when you have wholesome carbohydrates and protein versus processed. So yes, so some wholesome things you can have, carbohydrates, everything is in carbohydrates. Someone says they don't eat carbohydrates, they're liars, or they're just really extreme. That's just crazy to me that people don't do that. But anyway, carbs are like your potatoes, your whole grains, your fruits, your veggies, literally broccoli, cabbage, asparagus, those are carbohydrates. Like they have other micronutrients in them, but those are carbohydrates. Some protein choices. Protein's so hard. I think protein's the hardest thing to get in. But protein choices, you have your chicken, your beef, your ground turkey, your turkey in general. Trying to think what else, like nuts, some nuts. I know legumes have protein. Literally, if you just look it up, like there's so many sources. Greek yogurt has protein, so you can have like smoothies and stuff. Protein powder. I always drink protein shakes right after the gym to help form my muscles, help reconstruct your muscles, and so I don't go catabolic. Though the window for that isn't as nearly as small as people make it seem. Just it's really important to have protein after, because then you feel filled after you just did an amazing workout. So my favorite protein, I'll tag it below. I like to have the isodiamatize. It's the best tasting in my opinion. I'm not sponsored in this video as a sponsor by them. I'm just saying that's my favorite. And then fats. So fats, people don't understand that like your fats in your diet are like really important for like hormonal balance, for your metabolism. Fats are like avocado oil, coconut oil, olive oil, avocados, some nuts, some almonds, things like that. They're good for just like your moods too. Some help with your skin complexion. Because you eat a lot of fat doesn't mean it transforms into fat. I know that's like, you would think and connect that, and I feel you, like I would connect that too, but let me tell you, it's not true. Now that I've busted that myth, I hope you guys start eating more fats. I feel like fats are like the hardest thing to get in, but not at the same time, because if you cook with fats, it's processing in your body. I don't know. I like avocados, so I get mine through my elbows. Anywho, some calculators you guys can use to help figure out your macros if you've decided after watching this video that you're gonna try macros. There's Katie Hearn's calculator, IIFYM is what it's called. Like I said, I'll tag them below. You can use myfitnesspal. I feel like myfitnesspal is more calorie based versus actually doing your macros for you. So I wouldn't suggest going directly off myfitnesspal. I always like to go a couple of extra like places to see. That's just me personally. If you trust myfitnesspal, it's great. There's a couple, I'll just tag them below, that you can do it. So just keep in mind, you know, you need to be really on top of it, really direct with your macros and counting them, and really be mindful as you're scanning your foods in or as you're typing your foods in. MyFitnessPal really isn't difficult. I'll show you guys in the next video like how easy MyFitnessPal is and how to check your nutrition, that's your macros as you're eating throughout the day. One thing I want to point out is if you upgrade the version of MyFitnessPal where it's like the upgraded version, I didn't know this, so I guess it's $9.99 a month for it, but if you pay the year it's only $50. So if you do the math, you save yourself about $50. My good friend Tina told me that. That's who I consulted on this. Thank you so much, Tina. Love you tons. So if you're thinking about that, you might want to do that and save yourself a little extra money. Okay, I'm gonna hurry and show you guys really quick just how easy it is to type in your information into one of these calculators. So this is Katie Hearn's calculator. I have loved using her calculator, and I hear IFYM is better, but I've loved this one and I felt it to be pretty accurate. So I'm gonna type in everything, how active I am, what I want, and then calculate. There are my macros and my calories. Now I'm gonna move into MyFitnessPal and I'm gonna switch it up. So I'm gonna type in what that told me. So the way you get here is you click on the little dots at the very bottom at the right, and you click on goals and then go down where it says macro, like a macronutrients or calories, and that's how you can update them. So this has percentages. I'm not updated. See how it says grams and it has a little lock sign? I'm not updated. or upgraded to that one. So I'm just gonna try and get as close as I can to my macros. So if you really wanna start tracking macros, I think it'd be worth the money to invest so you can track the grams, because it'll be easier and more precise and accurate. So as you can see, I saved it, but my calories changed again. So I'm gonna go back and hit what I want to. Hit save, I'm done. So now for the day, those are my things. And if I ever wanna look at where I'm at, I'm gonna hit nutrition. And it's a little bit higher, but it's because I worked out, but I'm still gonna hit the macros that the calculator gave me. So anyway, I missed you guys. I really did. I love you all. And I'm so thankful for everyone who has just been so supportive of me on here and on my Instagram. I have just, like I said, I've been not in a funk, I wouldn't say a funk, but I've just been lethargic and just tired, and like, I've been trying to do a million things with our house. We're actually kind of updating our house, and so my mind has just been other places, but I haven't forgotten about you guys. I'm planning to record in the next following weeks, just trying to at least record once a week. That's kind of my goal for you guys and for myself, and just keep giving you guys like valuable content as I see fit. So if you guys have any other suggestions, any comments, any clarifications, I am like more than happy to hear, like, no, Melissa, it's actually like this. And I'm like, great, sweet. No, I know. The type of diet I do personally is I track my calories, because when I lost my weight, that's how I lost it, was being in a caloric deficit. So calories were my thing, but I've actually started intermittent fasting, which I could do a video on if you guys comment below and you want to, or DM me on Instagram. I can do a video on intermittent fasting. I saw a lot of progress with that as well. So those are the two styles I have tried. And like I said, I did macros for about 3 months, but I don't think I did it long enough to be like, I'm a master at this. So anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up so I know to keep recording more. And don't forget to subscribe and, you know, follow along to Get Fit with Melissa Train, because there's a lot of things coming, you guys. Catch y'all later.